Hello, and welcome to today's live coaching call and community conversation. Today, we are going to be talking about the whys and the hows of fasting. And I'm going to help you determine how you might incorporate intermittent fasting into your life based on the why you're looking into intermittent fasting in the first place. So, welcome if you're new. My name is Diane Parham. I'm the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, where we do practice an intermittent fasting lifestyle for a variety of reasons. And I really do coach you and help you figure out the most authentic way for you to live your life so that you can stop chasing all these little fads and feeling really frustrated about how it is we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves. I'm also the creator of the course and community, the Midlife Mindset Shift course, where we talk about things that are pertinent to us as women in our aging years and how it is we can really create a mindset that will allow us to, again, look and feel our best and live our most authentic life. That is just the thing that we live by here. So a couple of announcements before we get started. I did post in the comments already, both on Facebook and YouTube, the link to go to if you're interested in joining us for our next Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. It does start on August the 5th. Registration will close on the 4th of August. It is a really great place to start if you are feeling really frustrated with all of the noise and confusion that is out there on the internet or even in just plain old marketing and how it is you're supposed to be showing up for yourself. We really do break down the mindset approach to intermittent fasting and just basically taking care of ourselves. And we undo a lot of the thought processes that a lot of us have grown up with. So it's a really great place to start. So let's get going. Also, we also ask that you please make sure you're hitting that like button, that you are subscribed here on YouTube, and that you're following along on Facebook as well. That really does just help our community, and it really does show the participation effort of all of our community members when they're joining us for our live coaching and community conversations. Okay, so let's get started on today's conversation. Oops. We are going to be talking about the hows and the whys of fasting. So what I did was just break down for us kind of like the general quote unquote protocols that have been established for fasting. Again, protocols with intermittent fasting have been established because someone did a study somewhere and they had certain parameters that they followed when they did that study. And so we've broken them down and we call them protocols. But really, you get to decide what's going to work best for you, again, based on why it is you might be looking at into intermittent fasting or why it is you're looking to create a lifestyle for yourself. And then you get to back that up with the how you're going to approach it. Here in this community, a lot of us practice the 20-hour fast and the 4-hour feast because it has really proven to be the protocol or the lifestyle that so many women are just finding to work for them. It helps reverse the signs of aging. It gives us a break from food. It really does allow us to show up as our most authentic self, super energized, clears all the brain fog. Like the list is endless, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that every single day exactly the same way to reap the benefits. So we're going to go through some of these protocols, and then I'm going to help you maybe find your why and then back that up with how you want to start fasting. So a 12-hour fast, that basically just means you stopped eating. For most people, it means you have gone to sleep and you've woken up the next morning. You've probably just not snacked on the couch, or you got enough sleep and there was enough of a time break between when you started your fast, or you basically stopped eating until you entered into a new eating window again the next day. I like to call that the insulin reset time frame, right? Because there have been studies. We talked about this last week. We had the little, bar like this, and we talked about draining the tanks. When you're at that 12-hour mark without a new food incident or a new insulin response, that's when your insulin is at its like baseline, right? It's like balanced itself back out, and you get to start fresh with new insulin responses and new glucose rolling around in your system. It's just what we call the insulin response to food, or what decisions we're making to put food in our body. So 12 hours is when we know that insulin is back at baseline. There has been lots of studies and research done with women who are breast cancer survivors, where it indicates that 13-hour fasted window is when like if women who have had breast cancer and are survivors of breast cancer fast for 13 hours, meaning your insulin is going to be at bay for that 13-hour mark, that's a really great way to offset the recurrence of breast cancer. Like, tell me no more. Like, why would I not fast for 13 hours? I've not had breast cancer, but like maybe if it keeps breast cancer from coming back, my odds could be that I might not get breast cancer just from fasting for 13 hours. That could be your why. Like, you're going to just trust that research. That frame of 13 to 15 hours, again, is just kind of a really natural place for people to fall within fasting. If you're not like falling into that philosophy of you have to eat every 2 hours, or you have to eat throughout the day, or too long without food is going to cause some sort of problems for you. And so 13 to 15 is also just kind of like what naturally falls into place for a lot of us if we're not chasing down food. Totally natural state for us. The 16 to 18 hour protocols, or that 16 to 18 hour mark in a fasted state, is where I really started fasting. And I know a lot of people start fasting because it's just really comfortable, right? You kind of got into that insulin reset. Your body's naturally comfortable with fasting the 13 to 15. So 16 to 18 is where some people can just kind of push the envelope a little farther. A lot of people see really great results here. It's used a lot in the fitness industry as well to kind of manage physiques and body fat and, you know, make some metabolic changes, those types of things. So again, really common. That 16-8 is what a lot of people talk about. The problem with 16-8 here in this community is we really haven't been able to reach what we like to get into, especially as aging communities, and that is that state of autophagy, where you have the opportunity for your body to go in and reverse a lot of things that we seem to find problematic, right? And so that's really where I found going beyond that 16-hour mark was really beneficial to me, because I was diagnosed as a pre-diabetic. I was having all kinds of brain issues going on. I had some thyroid things that were happening. I just had a lot of things that shifted in my body as my hormones changed. And that 16-hour mark wasn't cutting it for me. And I think and believe now that we've had enough experience here in this community that it's just not long enough to get into that state of autophagy. And even that 18-hour mark isn't enough of a window in a self-healing phase for a lot of us, especially women who are aging, to reverse a lot of things that have just, quite frankly, built up over time. So autophagy is a great place for your body to just go in and do that self-healing. We know about all of this, but for a lot of us, we're not really connecting the time frame, right, to the what's going on in our body. And so if your why is reversing the signs of aging, and I want to categorize that as just time over time over time, your body just starts to break down, and that we want to give it the opportunity to reverse some of that breakdown. We know autophagy is when your body is going in and self-healing. It's eating up some of the problematic cellular things that are going on, redistributing healthier cells back in our body. It's really great for relieving some of the plaque buildup going on in our brain, like so many things, right? Along with all of these other things that are happening. So the beautiful thing about the time in which you're in that fasted state is it's compounding, from the insulin reset to the natural phases of fasting to the fitness benefits and food freedom that you're going to experience by not having to meal plan, not having to carry little baggies of food around all the time, not being afraid that if you go more than 2 hours, your body's going to store fat. We know that those are all like not truths anymore. So you get to compound all the benefits by just staying in that fasted state a little bit longer. The 19 to 20 hours is, like I said, it's where we're seeing a lot of the reversing of the aging process, simply because you're in a self-healing state longer. Now, is this true for everyone? I don't know, but I know here in this community, when we hit that season of perimenopause, and everything really does start to shift simply because of age, right? Or the season of life that we're in of aging, because a chronological age sometimes is different for women than what's going on physiologically in your body, right? And so it's the aging process that really helps us get reversed when we're in these levels of self-healing. And then the 21 plus hours, or a longer fast, extended fasting, prolonged fasting, multiple day fasting, whatever, is really a personal preference. Like, If you feel like you're going to benefit from that and you find that you really like going days without food, you don't have any kind of issues with that, then I say definitely take advantage to some longer fasts. So let's get to the whys and the hows, right? So for me, I've been fasting consistently for 7 years. I love it. I can't imagine any other way of living my life. The food freedom that I have received from just the basic understanding of what intermittent fasting can do, the things that I've personally been able to reverse, the things I've seen other women be able to reverse in this community. It's just this reinforcement of how powerful fasting can be. But you also have to buy into that emotionally and mentally as well. And I think where a lot of people, especially women, are getting stuck with the why and how of fasting is the absolutes that often come with what's been shared on the internet, right? That if you're not fasting XYZ way every single day, then you're not going to be able to benefit. And I just don't believe that that's true. I believe that the consistency over time of making healthy decisions for you and the consistency over time of being able to reap the compound effects of these windows really does afford us the opportunity to decide how we want to fast and how we want to feast every day, which is why here in this community, I encourage you to ask yourself every single day, how long am I going to fast today and how well am I going to feast today? And if you're into working out, which I also highly recommend, how smart am I going to train today? Because every single day should be a new opportunity for you to benefit from these compound effects of what being in a fasted state can do for you and what fasting is now going to be defined as you, the woman who chooses to live this lifestyle. If you're in a state where you're just really frustrated and uncomfortable with some things that are going on in your body, your why for fasting is going to be different than someone maybe like me who's been fasting for 7 years and I'm pretty okay with everything that's going on with me. So my how might be different than yours only because our whys are different. Or maybe you're a woman who's just frustrated with the fact that you have all this hormonal weight on you and hormonal body fat, and you want to figure out a why or a how to get rid of that. Again, the way you decide to choose how you're going to fast is going to determine that why. Maybe you do 19 to 20 hours consistently for a good 6 months to a year. You're starting to feel some of these reversals of the aging process, and you start to feel like you have a better understanding of your body. You have a better understanding of nutrition. You know what to do in your feasting window, and you're feeling like $1,000,000 again, and you're feeling like yourself again. Then maybe you can do some of these, or maybe you can do some things. You can add some creamer back in your coffee, or you can do some of the things that you took out because now you understand your body better and your why is going to change. So if you're not sure what to do with fasting, if you don't know where to start, I always recommend going to your why. Where does your why fall in some of these very common fasting protocols, or the window in which you're going to fast and the window in which you're going to feast? And then that can determine how you're going to show up for yourself. I stayed here and did a little bit of this when my why was to reverse a diabetic condition that I did not want to see get worse. So I was all in. I was in it to win it. I was going to fast that long, however long it took for me to stay in that kind of protocol until I reversed what was ailing me. Then when that was reversed, my why changed. Now I fast because I love it. I absolutely love the way I feel when I'm in a fasted state. And I know that I can plug into any one of these things anytime that I choose to, based on how I want to look and feel and how authentic I want to show up for my own life. And that's what I want to teach you here. This is what we coach on. This is the premise of our whole community here, is you figuring out what's best for you so that you don't have to wait for someone else to do some scientific study, or you don't have to wait for someone else to tell you what they think you should be doing. You should be able to figure that out for yourself. I always recommend starting here. Reverse the things that you're uncomfortable with, reverse the things that you're frustrated with, and then jump in and out of all of these other windows depending on what your life is doing, right? Depending on what's going on in your life. But I don't want you to think that you have to live in absolutes. It's either this way or you're not going to reap any benefits, because we just know that is not true. And I want us to all live in our truths here. So if you are frustrated, try checking out some of these, experiment with some of these. If you want to go all in and just get a head start in reversing just what happens to us as we age, it doesn't mean that we're doing anything wrong. It's just time and consistency of going through life. We end up just having some things that we have to manage. If you're interested in that, that's what we teach inside the class. It is the 20-hour fast. And then I also help you think through some scenarios to help you figure out the feasting part, so you can ebb and flow your way through life, not have to miss memory making moments, and then not feel like you have to be some victim of a trend or a meal plan or someone else's diet philosophies that might not allow you to actually live your life most authentically. Okay, so that's what I have for you guys today. Spend some time figuring out why it is you're seeking out a new way to live your life around food, then back in the how so that you get the result that you're looking for. Oftentimes, all we really look for is that emotional state of desperation of how to do something, and we never really factor in the why. And what I want to encourage you to do is start with your why and then back in how you're going to resolve whatever it is you're not happy with. And then your why is going to change and you do the process all over again. Charmin, I'm sorry, I thought that was Shannon. Charmin, in Colorado, former graduate, not sure what month. I wasn't ready then. I am now. Fasted 4 days, down 4 pounds. Fantastic, right? And you do really have to be ready for this. When you're ready for this, and hopefully, Charmin, you're feeling this sense of ownership and sense of responsibility, right, for you to make this decision, is now you're going to go all in with us. Just go back to your course, log in at fortodaysagingwoman.com/login. If you have your course available to you, go back and redo your lessons. It's going to soak in for you and click for you this time because you're emotionally and mentally ready. And then you'll be able to create this lifestyle for yourself. And then you can ebb and flow your way through any protocol that you feel is going to suit you, with you asking yourself and answering yourself very honestly the questions: how long am I going to fast today? And how well will I feast today? And that's the beauty and freedom of the lifestyle that we are living here. And I'm so glad that you're back. And congratulations on the 4 pounds. Sherry, happy Monday from Way Too Hot, Eagle, Idaho. Day 17 of clean 24, sometimes longer, clean fasting and only fresh ingredients, feasting, feeling energized, sense of calm. Yeah, and Sherry, what I love about what you're sharing and what you're doing for you in this particular season is just that reminder that you can come back whenever you want, right? You can fall away a little. The more work you do on your thought process, the more work you do on how you feel about yourself, the more work you do on remembering like how easy it is to just jump back in, the easier it is for you to jump back in, and you start to reap those benefits again. So life is not supposed to be a super straight line. Life is not supposed to be perfect. We're not supposed to weigh the same exact thing every day. Our life should be ebbing and flowing. Our life should be a series of us kind of moving in and out of seasons. And when we really get confident with understanding our body and how it works, and we don't fear being without food, we can manipulate the outcome of our day, of our week, of our month, and of our life. And Sherry, you're proving to be a perfect example of that. So I'm super happy for you and glad you're feeling good. Okay, so I put the link for the information to jump into class. If you guys are interested in that, it's always available in the comment section and in the description box below. Liz from Maryland, March 23 grad, do well with the fasting, trouble with feasting, gave blood Saturday and had the pre and post food. Now thinking of candy and cookies, staying strong to resist. Okay, so Liz, here's what I always recommend for those types of scenarios is that, and this is the same when you go to get your like annual physical. I share this a lot with our community here. The reason that your doctor schedules a physical for you to get blood drawn at 8:00 in the morning is because most people cannot go more than 12 hours without food, because they have insulin problems, right? Most people have like a little bit of insulin resistance going on. For a lot of women, when estrogen changes in their body, we have a lot of bit of insulin resistance going on. I was one of those women. So they don't want people bottoming out on them when they go to do a blood draw. So if you know that, then you can schedule, like I schedule my annual physical for 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I don't mind fasting for 20 hours. The office is not as crowded. The lady who does the guy who does the blood draws, not all stressed out and busy because they're like all backed up, right? It's freeing. I can just schedule it when it's convenient, not when I'm afraid, right? And that's what most people do. They schedule those things when they're afraid of being without food for 12 hours. Think about it with a blood draw. So they take blood out of your system, and they take a pretty good amount. And what we know about our blood is that it does rejuvenate itself like over time. So if you know you're going to give blood and you know that the only option there is cookies and orange juice, and you don't want to rely on their options, bring your own option. Bring something that you can snack on for yourself just to get that. They don't want you to pass out. It's sort of that hypoglycemic low that we tend to feel. And so just rejuvenate yourself with your own choices. Bring something that's going to suit you. It could be an avocado. It could be, some little snack that you have at home, but you don't have to rely on their food. We do that just because we don't think it through. So the next time you go give blood, Liz, think it through. Like, what snack do you want to have available to you? I would bring my breakfast shake. I would have it ready to go. And as soon as I got done drawing blood, I'd have probably they got done drawing the blood, I'd probably have a big old bottle of water, and I'd have my breakfast shake, and I would be like, peace out, I'm out of here, right? And so remember that they're dealing in these types of scenarios, they're dealing with the average person. And the women in this community, the women who are doing these things to better our lives for our future self, we're not the average, we're the outliers. And so treat yourself like an outlier and create your own situation for that, for sure. Nancy, can you take class with just a phone? That's all I have. Yeah, for sure. As long as you have internet and a browser, you can log in. We also have an app. I always say the app is, when we're using apps, they're a condensed version of what you would get in a browser type of experience, but we do have an app you can download. You can log in there, and you can also take it on your phone. Absolutely no problem. Just make sure you have a place to log in. Not a problem. Lessons are about 10 to 15 minutes, so you can just listen there on the video. And there's also an audio lesson if you'd prefer to just listen to the audio also. And we would love to have you in class. Nancy, I'm a cancer survivor of 38 years. Oh, have you seen the research on intermittent fasting and women with breast cancer survivor stories fasting for at least 13 hours? It's fascinating. I rely on that information, just like I put sunscreen on every day, hoping that it's going to, work or slow down the process of something else going on with my skin. I also trust that, man, just 13 hours without food, that's easy peasy to stack the odds in my favor. And so I would love to have you in class with us. Carol, I got my sweatshirt last week and I love it. Carol, shoot me a picture. Send me an email with you in your sweatshirt, or send me something on Instagram or Facebook or somewhere in a DM. I would love to see you in your shirt. And yes, they are the absolute best. They're my absolute favorite. We can't wait to issue another little mantra in our next launch. Nancy, started with 18.6 and up to 20 hours and feel great. Fantastic. Lori, hello from Maine, October 21 grad who has lost her way. So I'm trying to do the 20-hour fast, but what I'm having an issue with, I'm sure it's mentally, but what I have found is, let's see what else Lori had to say. I want to end my fast by noon, so that makes me have to start my next fast by 4, and I'm not hungry. But by 8 p.m. I do. Do I force to eat at 4? Okay. So go back to class, Lori. See if you can log back into your class, and then, you can figure all that out. But it is more mental than anything. And then you have to ask yourself, like, are you forcing yourself? Are you forcing your fasting and your feasting windows? Is that a natural fasting and feasting protocol window for you when you're starting and stopping? Is that just because that's kind of just how your life unfolds? And so that window of feasting is easier for you just because of that. And then just you have to remember too that when you were first in class, we have that first week or so where our body's trying to figure out what's going on with our new schedule. And so it just feels a little bit uncomfortable. You just got to get past that first week, and then your body will click back in. And then before you know it, you won't be having those feelings again. You're probably afraid of being hungry more than you're actually hungry. And so just busy yourself and get yourself to bed and just let that time pass for sure. So at 8 o'clock, just have a bottle of water and then see, and keep yourself busy. That time frame, like that's almost like from 7 to 10, is just sort of that wind down time for a lot of people, and we tend to be a little more idle, and so we get that nervous energy, and we feel like we need to eat when we really don't, because you're not even like exuding any kind of effort to need any extra calories, right? And so figure out too if it's a habit trigger, and then you just kind of have to change the habit or put something else in the place that's going to be a different trigger. So you'll jump right back into it. Just remember, all the things that we taught you in class. Remember, all of our little mantras. Hungry's where the magic happens. When in doubt, fast it out. And then do a little bit of work of why you lost your way and why it is you want to come back. And remember that why you want to come back is really going to help you determine that how factor. Like, how am I going to put this in place to work for me based on what it is I say that I really want? Lori, yes. Thank you. Afraid of hunger. That's what I think. Yeah. So just busy yourself. If you're idle and you're like, and you're just have nothing but your mind kind of racing away, you got to just change those thoughts for sure, and then find something to do. Or have a glass of water and like a fancy water glass. Sometimes those like little things can really do a lot for our mindset. And so that's what I used to do. Is used to I'd have some sparkling water and I'd put it in like a fancy glass, and I'd sit on the couch, and everybody else is snacking, and I would have my fancy water in my fancy glass. And sometimes that was satisfying enough. And you're just feeling like you're doing something good for yourself. So, and then keep us posted on how you're doing. It usually takes about a week for your brain to catch up with the changes that are going on, and then your body will kick in. And then before you know it, everything will just be exactly where you left it from before. Okay, so that's all I have for today. Super simple. I wanted to talk about the whys in the hows because, again, autophagy is, I think, that big word that gets thrown around with fasting. But do we really have to be in a state of autophagy 24/7, 365? Maybe not. It's the consistency of making really informed choices for yourself and what it is you want to have for your future, how it is you want to show up, what you're doing with your energy. And so if you can do this when it's convenient and possible, will you reap the benefits? 100%. But it's the compound effect of making really good, sound health decisions for ourselves consistently over time, which is going to add up to the big picture of our life, right? And so we don't have to do things in absolutes 24/7, 365 to walk around being happy and healthy. What we want to do is understand this enough so we can reap the benefits of it when we need to reap the benefits of it, and then let these windows right here be that compound effect for us, and we can jump in and jump out whenever we want. And just like Lori, right? She lost her way and then she realized she wants to come back. As soon as you've realized that you want to come back to living this lifestyle and you want to take advantage of all of the benefits that it provides for us, you just jump back in. You don't have to wait for anything. And for a lot of us here in this community who have the experience of this, your body has amazing muscle memory, and give it a week, it'll jump right back in. And then all of these things, like I said, will just fall back into place. Super fun to be able to do it. All right. We don't live in absolutes here. We're not finger pointing. We're not demanding people do things our way or the highway. I really do want to reemphasize this over and over and over and over again for you guys. Figure out how you can be happy and healthy. You can have both simultaneously, and then you just put that on rinse and repeat. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you guys back here on Thursday at noon Central Standard Time, where again, we'll talk about something for us as intermittent fasters and aging women living in today's world. Have a good day.